always put on.
I should always put on eye cream. Guys, I am sorry. I should always put on eye cream. All right. This whole time we've been recording. Guess we'll have more of them bloopers for you. Okay, let's get this more or less where it needs to be. All right. Ooh, that made it worse. Obviously, things are just... What the fuck is going on with my hair? This is what happens when you don't have a plan, because everything is different now.
No haircut options.
I am really regretting not sneaking that haircut in, but I was like, oh, I'll do it next week. And then here we are. I might end up having to shave my head for this YouTube channel, just for reasons.
You have like this
Oh my god.
It's like a little white mark under your right eye. Can I see you now? Well, it's gone, but...
But what?
Oh, you're fine.
But what?
Just carry on. I think you should just talk.
I am just gonna talk, but I need something to bring us into this.
Yeah, there's
There's no getting
there's
into
no
that.
bringing in. Yeah, you're just there.
All right. Okay. All right, I'm just there. So, funny thing, no. The title of this video will be when you try and record a video midst coronavirus. Like when your job is to create content, how do you create content in the era of coronavirus? Because it's like I'm not a news channel, and I am not about to give you my take on the virus. I'm not about to give you any advice other than I hope, like Christy and I, you are quarantining yourself or practicing good social distancing if you are allowed to. And if you're not allowed to because you're one of the brave men and women that work at a store, an essential store like a grocery store, or you're a first responder or a doctor, or you are one of the teachers that may still be in session caring for kids, nothing that I say or do other than to say thank you matters, because you are a better person than I am, and you provide a much better service than I do, and you are vastly more important than I will ever be in this moment. And you're vastly more important day to day than what I do, because at the end of the day, I talk about stuff that is a luxury. It really is. Everything that we discuss here is entertainment. Everything that we discuss here is meant for fun and meant to be a distraction, but let's face it, it's a luxury. It's a luxury, and it's a luxury that many of us may be coming to the realization isn't as important as we once thought it was. And that's a very interesting place to be in. And it's funny, like even going over old videos from even 2 weeks ago, how rather ironic and interesting those videos become now, even in just 2 weeks, in just a week. You know, to create a video 2 weeks ago about, you know, the dying or the death knell of like brick and mortar, and now here we are amidst this crisis, and that video can come off maybe as insensitive, but also whatever chance there may have been for a lot of people, like life is just going to be different now. And it has nothing to do with anything that audiophiles did or you and I did or markets did. It's just life is going to be different. And it gives people in my position a moment of pause, because I struggle sometimes, I struggle sometimes even before all this happened with like, let's keep it in perspective. Like if you're a fan of this channel, if you watch this channel, like, what my stance is. Like my stance on things is that you don't have to be more right or a gazillionaire, or you don't have to be ashamed to like what you like. You don't have to have a super expensive system to be a part of this community, to be a part of this conversation. And so I've always kind of felt like that made me inclusive, and that made what we talk about easier to digest, because it came from a place of, I just want people to be happy. And yet it was still superficial stuff that we were talking about. Like, oh, the stereo imaging of this or the amps of that, we really need to be critical. And it's like, wow, how different a mindset you can have a mere 2 weeks later. And this isn't the first time that I've gone through something like this. This is the first time I've ever gone through a pandemic, as I'm sure many of you watching this is the first time you've had to go through it as well. And it's always unique to go through something on a very global scale, or at least on a scale where it's affecting more people than it's not. Like, I've gone through what I would consider to be 3 really kind of noteworthy events. The first was the shooting at Columbine, which was a newsworthy global event, but let's be honest, it affected a very small amount of people. It did. It was very impactful, and it was very meaningful, but on a whole, the world was more or less a spectator, for better and for worse. And then when the financial collapse happened, that affected a lot of people, and myself included. I lost my house, I lost all of my possessions, and basically almost became homeless as a result of it. And because of that, that shaped this new kind of way of thinking and appreciation for just, life and family and what you have. And in many ways, it influenced how I approach even these types of topics: hi-fi topics, audiophile topics, home theater topics. And if you have followed my work over the years, you would probably see that kind of giant paradigm shift, because up until that point, I was, super high end. I was I think I talked about in a video, I was chasing that ultimate pinnacle, Everest type experience. And then after that, when I had to sell all of it to paid bills, and none of it was anything that anyone put any real value on, it was kind of very eye-opening for me. And it changed audio from being something that I thought other people valued, I guess, in a weird way. And it became much more about, well, what do I value? What do I value? What do I enjoy? Like, if I'm going to spend money on, say, a pair of speakers, or I'm going to spend money on gear, it's got to be something that if no one ever gives me another dollar for this, I don't feel left out in the cold, or I don't feel like I've wasted my time or my money, because this is something that I wanted. And I think that this instance for a lot of people is going to do similar. I think that this virus and this kind of moment of collective pause that we have may have a similar effect on people. But unlike the financial collapse, I think that we're not necessarily going to go right back to normal. I don't think there's going to be certain things that more or less are like the day before. I think industries are going to be forever changed, and in positive ways. I don't want this to be doom and gloom. I do think that a lot of people may discover, as difficult as it may be, like working from home right now, especially if you have children. I am not going to speak to any of you who have kids and are trapped in your houses with little ones. I don't have children, so I'm not even going to go there. But many people may be working from home who do have kids or don't have kids. Their jobs may realize, hey, like this is feasible. We can just extend this. In which case, maybe people that used to report to an office are never going to report to an office again. Maybe people will suddenly feel the urge to rush back to an office, and suddenly career paths that 6 months ago were very in vogue about, taking control of your life, not going into a place of business, being mobile or nomadic, maybe that's all going to just fall out of fashion. And suddenly people are going to want to be in offices. I don't know, but that's kind of what long term, I think are questions that are going to be very interesting when they become answered. And as it relates to like audio and hi-fi and home theater, like from a studio perspective, as someone that used to work in and around the studio system, I did entertainment advertising for over a decade. I made movie posters, I produced trailers, I was one of the people, I was one of the cogs in the wheel that got you to the theater on a Friday night. And when I was leaving that industry in 2011 or 12, somewhere in there, when I was leaving that industry, because of the financial collapse, people stopped going to movies because people stopped having that entertainment discretionary income. That entire market collapsed, and then subsequently all of us that made movie posters and whatnot, lost out. But I think this time around, now that we have streaming and now that we have all of these services, app-based services, streaming, internet, things like that, like if the studios aren't going to not want to make money, they're not going to not want to make content. And so I've always been a big proponent for like day and date. I never thought that it would take something like a global pandemic to kind of force that to happen, but it does appear that we're going to be maybe introducing the mass audience or the general public to the concept of day and date, in which case a new release movie in which case, a new release movie is coming directly to you in your home on the same day that it would also be in theaters, except now there's no more theaters at the moment. At the moment. So what will people do with that information? What will people do with that experience? Under trying circumstances, yes, we're getting access to this new experience, this new way of doing things. Does that irreparably harm theaters going forward? Is this just one of the industries that may have more of a reckoning than we're willing to accept at this moment? And I'm not trying to be heavy, because this is maybe not the time to be heavy, but as a content creator, as someone whose ancillary sources of revenue, ancillary businesses have all but closed, leaving just me and you guys, me and this camera, for the foreseeable future, as a means of communication, as a means of expressing oneself, as a means of even earning a living. Like, what does all of this mean? I know that we had plans, like I should be right now, like I should be coming to you live from another room in the house, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, by this point in 2020, Christy and I had plans to unveil what would be our new filming studio and set and listening room environment and the whole thing. We had all these plans. Like, we were going to take you through the design, the construction, not construction, but the layout, the furniture choices, how to set things up, and all of this stuff. And we still plan and want to do those things. But obviously that is all just, I could take you in there and it's just boxes. It's just boxes. And it's not even boxes of stuff that I can necessarily use because we're waiting on other things. And, well, we don't know when that's going to happen. And so entire creative slates, just like you guys, entire lives and careers and what to do on a daily basis, it's all paused. And so now, given everything that's going on, it's like, well, what do you talk about? What's okay to talk about? What do you want to be a distraction? You want to be a source of positivity. because I do think that that's important. You want to be an outlet for people, but at the same time, like, it may not be appropriate to talk about $20,000 anything. May not be appropriate to say you should really consider doing X, Y, Z. But maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. This I've never been in. Of all the things that I've gone through, this I've never gone through. You know, like the financial collapse was one thing. This is different. This is definitely different. And I know from like Christy's perspective and our side business, like the wedding industry, I mean, it's gone. It's just gone. And I know that that's really frightening. Not only for us, but that's frightening for a lot of our friends, like a lot of our peers. That is what they do. You know, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Like this YouTube channel and what we do here and the support and the growth that this channel has experienced in the last 6 months to a year, this was just a hobby. This was like, hey, I have a few minutes here and there, and we do it for fun. Like I have had a commercial film business, a consulting business. Christy's had weddings. We've had other things that have actually been how we make a living. Those are all gone. Like not like, oh, they're paused. They're like all gone. And we hope that they come back. Obviously, people are going to get married again. But any momentum that you build, any plans that you may have had for yourself and growth and business and changes and stuff like that, it's kind of like everyone's going to have to start over in a weird way. Like we're all going to be like first timers again whenever we come out on the other side of this. And the YouTube thing is the same because, you know, you guys have seen it. Like this channel has exploded in the last 30 days, and it's all thanks to you guys and sharing and seeing it recommended and coming and seeing and watching 1 or 2 videos. Like that's amazing. That's amazing. And while some of you may look at it and be like, oh, you know, Andrew must be cashing in, like the growth has been insane. And it has touched us in ways like we read comments now, like before going to bed with like tears in our eyes, legit. Like some of you write really touching things to us that we're like, holy shit. Like we're just a channel about speakers. Like we're not worthy of like some of the stories that you share with us, but we're really thankful that you do. Like we're really thankful and really honored that you do share those things with us. And we're really happy to be here giving you guys a platform with which to share those things with us. And they're amazing. And they're why, you know, last week when we saw like the numbers fall off and, you know, YouTube behind the scenes notifying people about what we can and can't say and stuff like that, like, you know, and then we did the Polk Bookshelf speaker review and we realized that like it got served to no one. And I know for me, like over the weekend, like that's kind of when a little bit of panic set in, but then I was just like, you know, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. You know, you just got to keep doing your best. And as someone that has worked for themselves, gosh, for more than 10 years now, it's stressful, but it's always stressful. It's always been stressful working for oneself, never knowing. I mean, there's paycheck to paycheck. And then there's like, if I don't do X, then nothing happens. And so, yeah, you just have to keep going. And it's also healthy in times like this where health is all that really matters. Like giving yourself purpose and doing something with yourself each and every day is the best advice that I've ever gotten from somebody and I can ever give to someone else in a similar situation as this. Is you just, the body, the mind, the soul needs purpose. And for the foreseeable future, this is mine. This is mine. Sharing what I can within the confines of what we have here to do it. And I really hope that you'll continue to join us. And yeah, we might be talking about some stuff that ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, isn't all that important. But like I said in yesterday's video, if you need a distraction, if you need to be entertained, if you just want to just think about something else for just a minute, I promise you we're here. And that is all I know. That really is all I know. We still have a lot of fun stuff in here in the house. We do. And I'm excited to share it with you. And I don't want this, what's happening, to temper that excitement, because the important thing to remember is this is going to pass. And life may look different afterwards, but it's still going to pass. And we're still going to want to get back to things like, what do we enjoy, and hobbies. And maybe at that time, you'll revisit some of these older videos that we will create in this interim, and they will be of better help to you, or, make more sense. But we'll just have to create them all the same now, because we, like you, we're just going to get through it. So I don't even know if that's the video I sat down to make, but that's the video we made today. I don't know if this is even vlogging. Is this vlogging? Does this constitute as vlogging? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just thank you guys so much for watching. Any question you have, we're going to read it. We'll probably almost guarantee respond to it at this point. Any question you have, any ideas, anything you want us to talk about, it's open season. This channel is your channel. It's my channel. It's everyone's channel. We're just here doing it together. But I will say this. If you like this video, if you like any of our stuff, we really do appreciate the likes and subscribe. But given the circumstances of the moment, turning on notifications at this point may be the only way that we've created something new. And it may be the only way that you get notified that there is a distraction waiting for you. So if it's not too much trouble, or just as a PSA for all your YouTube channels that you follow, if you haven't rung the bell, for the foreseeable future, you're going to want to ring the bell so that you get notified, because YouTube isn't going to do it. If stuff used to show up in your recommended feed, it's just not going to be there anymore for the foreseeable future. So ring that bell so that you don't miss out on our video, on anybody's video, because honestly, even a view, everyone's talking about how to support small businesses. A view supports creators. It just does. It doesn't cost anything, and it just does. And if you ring the bell, you're notified, you know when to view, and we can all just pay it forward. So that's today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be well. Be well. Be mindful. Be respectful. Just take care of each other. Just take care of each other. And I'm going to end it that way. So, till tomorrow. Be well. Take care of each other. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.